And with time going by, it's probably going to be a lot of entrance wounds. So the easiest way and the fastest way to do this, simplest way, not the most complex way. Same principle as with the wax. Now when we start getting to our models, this is where the scissors come into play. You can start cutting their clothes. Please ask before you cutting, and not every kit has your safety surgical scissors, right? The ones that have the sharp and the blunt end. Please don't cut toward your model. I say that because some people do. Snip away, not toward. Some people are a little bit more prone to tripping than others. And also where the wound is going to be located. You know, don't cut up here and pull down and you're like doing the wound and then the shirt comes over it. If that's the case, I mean rip. But just be aware of where you're cutting. That includes their pants, right? So don't be afraid to rip them. And most of the models that come through should know that their clothes are forfeit once they come here. Can I see your spatula, please? So, with the gunshot wounds, it's just going to be enough wax that you can drill a hole in with your brush. The entrance wound is not complicated at all, but it can still look messy. I just want to make like a little wax tortilla. Doesn't have to be perfectly circular. We're going to get that down. And you want some of it to be raised, right? Because you want some of that inflammation there on the skin. But again, please, not a big pile of wax. Not a big little anthill. It happens. Artists get really excited about this wax. I'm just pushing the edges down, just blending them. And when I say you can make this complex, you can go into skin texture, you can go into the whole ball of wax with this, literally. If you don't like the shape, a little bit of KY. You just start feathering out the wax. Take out some of the bumps. You can do what we call just cross hatching. When you do this on your own, like I say, you can make this look extremely real, but there should be no one at that exercise will be like, this bullet wound doesn't look real. You know, no one's going to be really paying that much attention, other than for us and there will be more than likely media there. So be advised, you might have a camera stuck in your face. May I see a brush, please, anyone? And when they come and talk with you, it's going to be your worst makeup of the day. Guaranteed. That's when they're going to be interviewing you. This looks so realistic, and you're looking at it, and it's just a nightmare. And that's what's going to be on film. So just a little bit, because I'm going to drill in and out. You have an entrance wound. Can I see your thick blood, please?
Is this enough?
Let me see that one in the jar. The one that's like,
Oh. Gotcha. You need one of these? I don't know what these are.
those are popsicle sticks, but you know what? Let me see a popsicle stick. There are plenty of these. These are great for all manner of things that I will go over here shortly. I use a popsicle stick. I usually cut off the end, and I can make two real easy. These are great for mixing ingredients, especially when you're doing, for most effects artists, like molds and mixing particular products for on set. But if I get some of the thick blood, I'm just gonna fill the hole, that's it. And remember, it's still wax, so be careful how much pressure you put on it. All right, I've got that filled. Can I see your alcohol palette, please?
Yes. Oh,
And
that's there somewhere.
a brush that has red on it. What I love about the Skin Illustrators is each makeup has a name, you know, whatever fancy name they give it. So when I usually have a chip brush for every color in my kit when I'm using alcohol palettes. I know which is which. Irritate the mark. Pour some blood. You got an entrance wound. And because we're going to be doing so many, that's why you want to do the fast one, because you might have people with multiple gunshot wounds. So if you're going to be doing to the chest and there aren't prosthetic and or gel effects available, make sure you put enough adhesive and cotton down to hold that wax. And don't make it a big ball, just enough to where you can, it looks like a gunshot wound when you go in there. With the exit wound, it's not the same thing, it's not very difficult, other than, can I see your wax please, and your spatula? Quickest, easiest way to make an exit wound is think of a circle with an X inside, because that X is what's gonna open up like a flower to give you your exit wound. And again, these are the simple ones, not the complex ones. And it's the same thing. I'm gonna make a tortilla. Now don't make it so flat that you can't pull anything up. I want it to be just lumpy enough to where I can get goo in there. Some of the thick blood, some of the runnier blood. And that's why just be careful how much cotton you put down, or else you're gonna have cotton coming out from under the wax. So if I'm cutting an X into this little piece of wax, I don't want to cut through the wax. I want the X in the center, which mainly indicates I just need to kind of just puncture it and rock the spatula in there, and I'll make the X just fine. Because I want the borders around it, or else it's just going to look like a pizza being cut. So I'll put that down. And there should be no need for any wounds on the back. A lot of these casualties are going to be laying down, or the back of the arms. Occasionally the legs. Just feathering out the sides. And that's okay if you're moving and it looks a little bumpy. Just get it cut and go. If we only had 100 people, we can smooth it out all day and make it look nice. But for here, oh no. So I cut into it, and again, I'm not trying to slice all the way through it. I'm just gonna go dead center. And it doesn't need to be perfect. It's okay if you have flaps that are thinner on one side than the other. Then I just start picking up the cut pieces. It's okay if some of the tissue or some of the cotton comes out. It's going to be covered in blood.
If you're doing a penetrating injury, that would be the same thing.
For what
For a
again?
penetrating injury with like an object sticking out. it'd be
Yes,
kind of the same
and
thing.
so for a penetrating, and which I'll do right after this, with a penetrating, you're gonna embed it in the wax. But with here, you have just a nice, nasty exit wound wherever you put that on the body. But again, place it to where it's gonna be stable, which is why you don't want a heavy amount of wax, because with all the movement, gravity is gonna start to do what gravity does. I'll get some thick blood. And you really don't want to use your brushes for the thick blood. The popsicle sticks or your palette is more than sufficient. Because once this gets on a brush, that brush is going to be useless. And that's before the blood's poured on, right? Because once the blood gets poured on in any direction, it's gonna look just fine. That was really quick without color matching, right? Before I even cut into these wax pieces, matching the wax to your model, if you have that time to add a little bit, great. Flecking on some paint on there with your alcohol palettes. But with, can I see that spirit gum again, please?
Spirit.
All right, got that.
This?
Now I'll take the wax.
Oh, this.
Yep, I've got it. And can I get a Q-tip?
Right there.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. Yeah, they have this one. I think that the flicking of the
And you're gonna have all types of loose shrapnel in your kit. I just don't have them filled because students like to go crazy with them. They look like porcupines with all this stuff, but then they walk out with them. And that's cool. I'm not gonna get them back on the day of the exercise. But same thing. Down. Would you be so kind as to hand me that yellow bag over there on the table?
Yellow bag.
It's filled with all those screws. Too flat, it's not going to want to hold. Blend down the edges. And the size of this wax is going to be dependent on the object that you're going to put impaled in your model. KY, I'm going to drill in just like an entrance wound. These impaled objects are made of foam, so they're sturdy enough to be pushed in, but enough pressure will break it. blood gel, flecking of red paint, pouring of blood, and you've got wounds that need to be dealt with immediately. Right?
Would you put the gel in the hole before you put the object, or?
So that is going to be artistic choice.
Mhm.
Usually I'll make sure to put the object first, so this way it bites into the wax. When it comes time for the object, you really don't need much. Like just what's on the stick, I can scrape on there. Like you don't want what looks like jelly on it. You just
Yeah.
want it to stain it red with what looks like blood. That is it. And then again, spray it to irritate the skin or match it, whichever one you need to do. And you have entrance, exit, and impaled objects. Now, with the impaled objects, if there are fragments of bone in your case, or we have bones set up in the room, like a little pile of them in case you have a compound fracture, again, make sure, think about where you're putting it. Don't put it straight out to where it's just gonna be, the first thing it hits, it's gonna get knocked off. Or somewhere where when they move their arm or their leg, it's gonna come out. And that there is enough wax to cover it and hold it. Now it's the compound fractures where I see like the entire jar of wax has been used to hold it on. It's just like this big mold and then this little tiny white piece of bone coming out. So whatever you need to do, it takes a little bit of finesse, but go play with that and see how that works out for you. And I'll be walking around to help any of you out, and we're gonna go into burns after this.